Go ahead.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the You'll Have That podcast. Thanks for coming. Um, Starting it off a little differently with a little bit of news. There's the new Windows cumulative update is seems to be causing some havoc for millions of Windows 11 users. Since its release on February 13th, the cumulative update for Windows 11 version 23H2, which fixes known security issues, has at least 3 widely reported issues that either break Windows features, prevent installation, or even causes performance problems. So just kind of be aware, keep a lookout for that. I would suggest that if you have the cumulative update, to just stop automatic updates and don't go to it. Um, just for general purposes. That way you don't run into any issues.
That's a pretty good point. And hello, everyone. I'm Wassup, and with me here joined is Jaboon.
Jaboon the Goon. But what is it? With the whole update, man, I just feel like with Windows, ever since 11 dropped, they just have not been able to get it right. I feel like there's always something going on. Um, and now it's like building up to just be more and more problems. Like I thought Windows 10 had its, ups and downs, especially like when they had that big vulnerability in like 2019.
Well, Windows 10 had kind of the same issue with one of its cumulative updates. I remember that actually hit my PC pretty hard. I thought that I had a virus or something. Things wouldn't load properly. The little search bar down there, whenever I'd go to search a program or something, it would crash the entire PC. So I think it's just an oops
Hopefully
that
it'll be like a day
most programs
patch.
have. I'm
Yeah,
sure they will.
it seems like now we're kind of like harping on as few employees as possible with as most production. So probably just Q&A here didn't really catch it in time, and that's affecting millions of users.
Well, yeah, on that topic of very few employees, I mean, you have across the board in the tech industry, they are letting go of employees left and right. One of Activision's Blizzard Activision's teams is down to 12 people,
Yeah, I know
literally.
like there's a website that actually tracks all the layoffs, and we're already at one, I believe a third, or no, sorry, I think we're at 2/3 of the layoffs that happened last year already have happened so far in 2024. It's
Yep.
something like 7,800, I think, layoffs total, like in the gaming
That's
industry.
bad. When we have a website dedicated to showing how many layoffs you had, that's how you know it's gotten bad over the past 4 years since COVID hit.
Oh yeah, one of the big ones obviously being Sony with 900 employees laid off. And now just recently we had who was it? Um, was it Ubisoft maybe? I want to say, or I
Are
think
you
it was.
talking about the one that laid off all of the employees in London and shut down the London office?
Was that
Is that
Sony?
what you're talking about? I believe it was. No, I think that was like Activision or something like
It
that.
might have. Yeah, okay, then if it was, then
Or
yeah, there's like,
Ubisoft.
I think, yeah, one of the two, but yeah, like 670 people laid off. So that's crazy to think we're just in 2024, and we're almost about to surpass the whole layoffs for last year that they had.
Well, on that story, I kind of feel bad for the girl that the CEO came, visited
Oh yeah.
their office. They took pictures with the CEO all hooked up and everything. She posted it on her Twitter account saying, thanks for coming, blah blah blah, singing his praises. And then a week later, the whole office is shut down, and her tweet below the picture was, "I have no words." Um,
Yeah, that's
so
messed
yeah,
up.
that's pretty messed up. But on to other things.
Yeah, you'll have that.
You surely will.
You well in the industry, that's for sure.
Hmm?
Was going from that, I guess on the topic of like tech stuff. Do we want to talk about video game piracy?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so do you want to introduce it? Do I want to go? Because I mean, you know me, I've sailed the seas in the past. I used to be a good old Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow. Um, we've talked about this in many episodes of the podcast. Now that we're on the seventh episode, I've brought this up many times, whether it be from malicious practices from video game companies or prices going up and up and up. It's about video game piracy and whether or not it is ethical or good for the industry, which I mean, a lot of people argue no, it's not good, and I get
Well,
why.
it really isn't good for the
I mean, no, it's
industry
not good
if they
because
can't
it
pay
takes
their
money from.
employees.
I mean, you're right. It's not good because people aren't getting paid at the office. I get
But
that.
to play devil's advocate, there is a good side to it. Because a lot of times people will pirate a game, and if they like it, they'll actually go on to purchase the game to support the developer. Because the days of demos are long gone. No one has a demo out anymore. So you really just gotta bite the bullet, buy it, or, that's it.
Well, are the days of demoing done? I mean, I get that, like, it's not the old school demos, but there are a lot of games that put out like free weekends, stuff like that, so that
Hmm.
you can try it before you buy it. Of course, they don't do that whenever the game first comes out or whatever.
Yeah.
It's normally a couple of months in, but still they do that. And I get what you're saying where, some people pirate, play the game, and if they like the game, they go on to purchase it. That's probably true in a very small percentage, but I have to say that there's probably an even bigger percentage of the mind of, well, I've already pirated it. Why would I pay for something I already have? And
I
that's
think a good, well, from someone like me and Jaboon that's actually done that before, not now. We do not condone this. We don't,
We
not,
don't
not,
do
not,
not
not.
go and do this.
Yes.
If you have the money,
Um,
get you a free copy, get you a legitimate copy.
Right, but there's a jankness. There's a big amount of jank that comes with pirating, and if you're not on top of it, obviously the DRM protection kicks in, and then you're fighting that. So I feel like for ease of convenience, if you really like a game and a title that you've pirated it, you would go on to buy it. Not to mention nowadays, almost all the games we see now are live service, and to pirate a live service game is a lot more difficult, and you can't usually get connection to the game servers themselves. You have to essentially use a proxy to go like to a separate game server that's gonna emulate the legit one, where you'll only be playing with people that pirated the game, which is a significantly smaller population. So in that regards, I mean, someone like me that I love online games in terms of being able to play with people, I wouldn't enjoy that because that removes the whole purpose of like you playing with friends and stuff like that.
I will
right.
say, I've noticed like a lot of single player games too are having like some like a little bit of live service in them.
Yeah.
That way, it's harder to if you don't have an internet connection or a way to authenticate, say the DRM, like Denuvo, things like
Hmm.
that, you cannot play the game at all.
Yeah.
Which to to kind of defend piracy in that regard, I will say there's two things I can give piracy the little like pat on the back for. One is, getting rid of that DRM that prevents you from being able to enjoy your game if you cannot authenticate with the online server for it, which I think should be a purely a hardware thing or like something that stays local to your computer. Like, hey, this person
Yeah.
has bought the game. Um, because there's people that are in the military or traveling, things like that, that do not have access to a stable internet connection,
Exactly.
and DRM is not very good in that regard. It prevents people from being able to enjoy something they spent, $70 on.
Mhm.
That is
Another
otherwise
thing,
single player, right?
otherwise single player, right? So not very bueno on that part. I think they could do better with that with DRMs. That's the one thing I will give piracy for. But another thing is, I think it's good, as far as like I guess hardware technology advancement goes, because I feel like with a lot of people pirating, you can kind of see like, hey, what do we need to improve on with our security, or how do they do it? And not just that, a lot of people can actually do some pretty good things with cracking stuff, or it may come in handy for preserve a version of a game that otherwise we wouldn't be able to have due to patches and updates.
That's a really good point they bring up. I'm glad you brought that up. Is preserving the games and all these live service games. Once the servers are shut down, it's gone. That's it. There's nothing else you can do. There's no remnant of it. Um.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah,
same with
that
older games too. Like a lot of old video game enthusiasts get mad at people for emulating games, or you know just emulating a PS3 game or PS2. But
Yeah.
no one wants to go pay 80 to $200 for a physical copy of something like God of War or Luigi's Mansion or all that kind of.
Right.
It's just I get why people do it. Should you do it? We're not advocating that, but we just gotta look at the positives of what it brings to the industry. And don't get me wrong, there's not a lot to say about positives, but you have a little handful.
I think to kind of go back to your initial statement is it ethical or is it moral? I think it's unethical, but it is somewhat morally sound if you do it for a specific reason.
See, I get why people do it. I
Yeah,
get, in
exactly,
some
right.
parts of the world, there's people that can't afford that price tag, especially with the whole Steam region pricing that we saw, get rolled out not too long ago. And video game
Yeah.
prices are going up more and more. People would buy these games, I think, if they could at times, but then there's also people that wouldn't. There's people that just want to have every game that comes out for free.
Not to
So
mention, I mean, in the future here, you're not gonna have PS3s and PS2s, PlayStation 1s even, they're not gonna last forever. That hardware will eventually just be obsolete. It will now no longer work. And what are we gonna do? We're just gonna say, okay, well, that game you'll never be able to play again. But with emulation, you have that avenue where that game could still you could still play it in another 10, 20, 30 years. Whereas the literal like hardware of the PlayStation 1 and 2 it's just not gonna work anymore. It's too old, it's degraded, and you're only gonna have a few copies that'll actually be fully functional, and they're gonna be absurdly high, I'm assuming.
right, because we've seen it with the old like Nintendo games. Like, have you guys not Nintendo, but I mean, the first those consoles. Like,
Yeah,
has
they're
anybody seen has anybody seen Chrono Trigger on eBay going for almost $1,000?
yeah, right, exactly. It's
What?
insanity.
Or you go into like say like in a local exchange shop, they will charge you like they will gut you just for a copy of like say Super Mario 64.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It's a collectible pretty much at that point.
Exactly, like, these things are not being treated like, they're entertainment anymore. They're being treated like they're a collectible, they're a novelty, which I don't wanna see happen with the game industry. I want it to be a redistributable and easy to get your hands on media if you desire.
As it was
But
designed, right? Yeah.
right, exactly, and these people are trying to actively take that away, and then they get mad when somebody else wants to enjoy that game without having to spend that price tag.
And if you know anything
But
about collectibles, oh, sorry, one sec.
no, you go ahead and finish, you're good.
So if you know anything about collectibles, people don't usually use collectibles because they want them to be pristine. So the whole point
Exactly.
of that is null and void. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
But on the topic of trying to preserve video games and emulation, there is a company that does not want you to do that, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about that. Good old Nintendo suing Yuzu. I've been studying this for the past 2 or 3 days. Nintendo's hitting Yuzu hard. If anybody doesn't know, Yuzu is a Nintendo Switch emulator that has been being developed for the past good couple years now, and it's been great. Um, we just talked about how we need to preserve these games, whether it be through emulation and, obviously the not ethical, but kind of moral thing. And this lawsuit's just kind of a mess, in my opinion. I don't know if anybody else is, I mean, we've all read it here, I think. I remember I linked
Mhm.
in the group chat, and Nintendo was trying to claim that Yuzu is, I believe, facilitating piracy at a colossal scale, which is quite a claim because if you guys read, the lawsuit and all that, they say it's because of their tutorial on like their quick start guide for Yuzu, which to let everybody here who may not emulate or know, they do not give you anything to get started. At most, they tell you how to set up the emulator and everything that you need for it to work or for it to function, you have to get yourself either by uploading it from your Switch or through, as we've talked about, not ethical means. But a lot of these things
Well,
are for free download.
and that's the problem right there, and that's why they're being sued. Now, granted, corporate greed is corporate greed. Um, I think I think Yuzu could do things to make sure that, you know, whatever's being played or emulated is not a pirated version, and that may get them out of this sticky situation. But that's the issue right there is a lot of the Yuzu users have never bought a Nintendo Switch, and they're emulating Nintendo Switch games, and that's what's pissing Nintendo off.
I think you're
Period.
correct here, right?
100%.
But I mean, I'm gonna go with kind of Asmongold's take here in the sense that Nintendo's chasing the wrong person here. Yuzu itself is not what's used for piracy. So it's almost like, for example, it's like someone going after YouTube for pirating. So YouTube has a ton of shows and movies that are pirated that are put on there for a few weeks and then they get taken down or they just slip through the cracks. And YouTube itself is just a hosting website. It is not
Right.
itself piracy. Yuzu is just an emulator. It is not itself a piracy anything. So
But
people are
here,
downloading the ROMs illegally off of pirating websites, which is what Nintendo should have done.
right, but the pirating websites don't have a CEO that they can sue. It's
They
the
have a
pirating
they've used cease and
websites.
desist many times before on individuals.
No, no,
Yes,
you're right.
these cease and desists on many individuals, but if individuals know what they're doing, how are you going to send a cease and desist order to someone that you don't know their email, you don't know their first and last name, you don't know their address, there's not even a phone number. It's just,
They
you
contact
know,
the government authorities and they shut down the website. That's how the
okay,
Pirate Bay was shut down.
and then another website pops up within 48 hours.
And there's tons of other emulators than Yuzu. So the
Yeah.
whole point of this is they're chasing the wrong person. And if this does go through, this is going to be a hugely bad precedent, for the whole gaming community. I mean, emulators have been around forever, and as Jaboon said, they're used to preserve games. It's
Well,
not.
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing the fact that they shouldn't be suing Yuzu. I am just playing devil's advocate and explaining why they're probably going after Yuzu because Yuzu has a face.
It's easy, right? It's easy to just go after them.
It's a lot harder to go after, you know, um, bad actors that don't have a face.
100%. I think my main issue with the lawsuit, like, I get why it's happening. Of course, it's Nintendo stuff that's been, pirated at a huge scale. Sorry, a colossal scale, as a lawsuit would say. But with their word choice and the law, the documents and all that, they don't say anything like maliciously. Anything that would make sense for what they're going for. If they wanted to go for the maximum damage possible in this lawsuit, or not damage, but to get it taken down, I feel like they could have done it way better. I feel it's just kind of out of the blue, especially with Yuzu being around for as long as it has. I think personally that once Tears of the Kingdom came out, um, I think that was like the final straw for Nintendo.
Mm.
And my whole thing is, why are they suing just Yuzu? Because we also have Ryu Jinx and
Simu.
there's a and Simu, but Simu's Wii U still though.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just a sticky situation because I don't
Well,
know if this is actually going to win or not.
I have a feeling that they're going to lose in court because at the end of the day, the law is on Yuzu's side.
They really don't have
Emulate
much, yeah.
emulators are legal. They are a free and legal practice. Period. Um, so I don't see them winning this lawsuit, but I do see it as a uh, kind of a foreboding tale for other people that do this stuff that create emulators and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, win or lose, both sides are going to be spending a lot of money because
Yeah.
it's going to be in a court system. You have to pay lawyers, you have to pay court fees, etc., etc. There will be a lot of money spent on both sides.
That is true, you're right.
I think like just the main question is, how far is Nintendo willing to take this lawsuit? Even though that they may not have a great case, we have seen them try to get
It's
things like Dolphin Emulator
I think
taken
we
down in the
both
past.
but
know.
that's the thing is it's not about them winning. Nintendo knows they have more money than Yuzu, and they're gonna bleed them dry to where they can no longer continue to operate.
Yeah, I was about to say Nintendo's lawyer team's a very vast lawyer team with a lot of money.
Which a lot of people are saying that the reason why Nintendo hadn't went after Pal World yet is because of this Yuzu thing, and that Pal World will be next on the chopping block. Is
No,
what
this
I have
Yuzu
seen.
thing's a lot more recent than Palworld. Like it just happened,
I'll say
Well,
that's a
yeah,
hell
I
of a
know.
claim.
and that is
I
a
know
pretty big claim. Yeah,
I know it just happened, but I think they had their sights set on Yuzu before Palworld came out because Yuzu's been around before
years.
Palworld.
Yeah, it's been around for years.
I mean, that can I
So
agree with.
I think their focus was on Yuzu to begin with, and they're just biding their time with Palworld.
Hmm.
I will say, Yuzu, if anybody from Yuzu's, checking this out, or anybody in the emulation scene, my Nintendo Switch, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out right here. This thing is essentially brick. You'll see it'll power on, but I cannot play games on my Switch. Yuzu has helped me be able to port over my software, my hardware from my Switch, and to continue playing my games that I've spent $40 to $70 on. Nintendo, if you're not gonna fix my Switch, give me an alternative to play it on my, this platform, and I can keep playing, give you money. That's all I gotta say.
I gotta be
Like I know
complete.
it's never gonna happen, but I know it's never gonna happen. But I can
Right.
dream. Nintendo, if you want to come, give us, a $70 game on PC,
Hey,
I'll
who
take that.
knows? Who knows? Nintendo might, have their development team come up with an emulator for PC. You never know.
What if, like, if we get into like conspiracy here, a little bit of,
Yeah, right.
heebie-jeebies. What if like this, lawsuits just like, a cover up for Nintendo trying to get these guys to come under their licensing and their company just to make a PC, emulator
I've
that
seen
people can
crazier
spin.
things happen.
That would be pretty impressive, especially because I think on the Switch they have an emulator by Nintendo for older games, right? I think Twiz, you
Yep.
were playing that,
Yeah.
so it would be
Mhm.
pretty insane to have them kind of do that for PC, and then
I was playing the original Mario.
yeah, exactly right. So that would be pretty interesting. Now knowing Nintendo, I think it'd be scummy as hell and probably overpriced and all that, but
Oh yeah, their games
Well, I
never
don't
go on
know.
sale
The
also.
the older emulator was like $5 a year.
yeah, but if
Yeah.
you're trying to emulate Tears of the Kingdom and newer titles, I feel like that's gonna be a bit more.
Well, here's what I want to ask you guys, because we've seen the lawsuits, and knowing Nintendo, what do we think is like the best thing that can happen out of this lawsuit? Aside from Yuzu, winning, of course, and not having to pay too many fees.
I personally think the best thing that could happen is obviously, well, Yuzu winning, but Nintendo also being brought to reality that not just because you have a big lawyer team can you just do whatever you want and do all these anti-consumer measures because you have either a new console coming out or you want everyone to buy your Switch because it has trash hardware, so you need to harp on the exclusivities, which is stark difference to the rest of the industry where PlayStation with Helldivers is testing out the waters with bringing it to PC and PlayStation, and then Xbox with Palworld, I believe, is now I don't know if Palworld's on PlayStation. I might be wrong. Um,
We better get a
Let me
fact
look.
check.
yeah, someone check that. But Xbox now stopping exclusivities. So the whole industry as a whole, except Nintendo, is going in a different direction. Whereas
Which I'm
Nintendo,
actually liking to see too, by the way.
same, yeah, it's
It's
very
a refresher.
refreshing and
It's not on PlayStation.
okay,
No.
it's not on PlayStation. Okay. Well, I do know for a fact that Xbox is bringing 4 titles over to PlayStation, like Sea of Thieves and some other stuff. I forgot what. But the whole point of it is this is a stark difference from Nintendo or stark contrast. Where Nintendo's kind of sticking to their guns and going backwards to we're gonna double down on exclusivities. We're gonna double down on the old mentality. We're gonna start harping on emulators and stuff like that, to where
Well,
people have to purchase the Switch.
Nintendo's always had that mindset, though.
I
They
know.
have
I mean, they all did.
always had that mindset.
They all did. But now, like Xbox,
Um,
PlayStation, PC is all changing, whereas
but
Nintendo's
Nintendo,
sticking.
but Nintendo more so than Xbox, Sony, and PC.
I agree.
Because you got to think before all this, you had plenty of titles that came out to PC, Xbox, and PlayStation that never ever hit Nintendo. There's not a singular Nintendo title that is on any other machine other than Nintendo.
Oh,
And
there
there's
are.
not
There's Warframe, Call of Duty now, or maybe not Call of Duty, Apex, Fortnite. They do have a lot of
no, I'm
titles now.
saying a Nintendo title.
Oh, a Nintendo. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
There is no Nintendo titles that
Yeah,
have
I
ever
can't think
came
of
to
any.
PC without emulation.
Yeah.
Never. There's never been a Mario. There's none of that. So, yeah, and Nintendo's just sticking to the same mentality that they've always had.
Yeah, no, I think that's the hard part though, is like over these last 3, 4 years, especially now in 2024, we're
Mhm.
seeing like that drastic, change in the gaming industry from what I used to be. Everybody was caring about their exclusives and caring about trying to, sell that console based off of that.
Mhm.
Which I'm surprised Sony, Sony. I'll talk about Sony again too in a second with
Yeah.
this whole lawsuit. Just like you said, releasing Helldivers on PC, bringing God of War to PC. I want to keep seeing that. Like, I'm hoping we can keep seeing that with Sony. And
Well,
Absolutely.
I would love to see that too. Is what irritates me is they let God of War come to PC, but they didn't let God of War Ragnarok.
I was kind of hoping that
They didn't
after
let
Valhalla came out, it would come to PC.
they didn't let Ghost of Tsushima come to PC.
Yeah, we
But
still we still have hope for that, but yeah, it is very unfortunate. But again, I really hope that what Microsoft has done and this Helldivers fiasco, I really hope this is a sign of what's to come, and hopefully, I really do hope you can start getting universal platform releases and just non-exclusives. I really do hope so.
hmm
and Nintendo, the best thing that you guys can do out of this if you lose this lawsuit, I would talk with the Yuzu boys and give them a pound on the back for trying to preserve your games and your hardware. These guys have been working day and night trying to make sure that people have an alternative to play your games when your console dies in 5 years. As we've already had the Switch out for about 7 years now.
There's already rumors of the Switch 2, which maybe this whole thing is actually really a move towards the Switch 2 and then marketing the Switch 2 to backwards compatibly play Switch 1 games.
That's
So,
what I'm curious about. Like, I'm
yeah,
wondering if after all the lawsuit, and sorry to cut you off, but I wonder if like after like the lawsuit and we see like more documents and paperwork after everything is said and done, if maybe
yeah.
we'll see something about the Switch 2 in there, or like, maybe with the Switch 2 they plan on releasing these games at a 1080p 60 FPS or even somehow a 4K, which knowing
I
Nintendo,
highly doubt
I
that.
highly
I
doubt
highly
that.
doubt that.
But what if
Yeah.
like there's something more to it that we're just not seeing it? What if
No, that's a
maybe like
yeah.
Yuzu did something either behind the scenes, or maybe Nintendo was trying to do something behind the scenes?
That's very true. We don't know, but yeah, that would be an interesting turn of events because it's possible.
And
Nintendo is pretty scummy these days, so it's possible.
and just remember, Nintendo, we saw Sony try to do this with the PS2 emulator. It did not work. Y'all better do your homework next time if you fail this lawsuit. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Exactly.
all industries are pretty scummy these days. I mean, just look, you've got the food industry, the gas industry, the gaming industry, GPUs, CPUs.
Everybody trying to gut you.
Everybody's,
And
doing
this
this
isn't
whole
listed on our
fake
topic,
inflation
but
thing.
I kind of want to add on here a little bit. But excuse me. You know, lately, I think the main issue here is the AAA industry itself is non-sustainable. The AAA gaming industry is starting to become non-sustainable because these games now require such a big budget. Like example, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I think it had like what a 150 million, 200 million dollar budget, right? And they have to, yeah, they have to over monetize so much to get their money back. Not even to please the investors, just to get their money back, right? And it's just it's a bubble. It really is a bubble. Like, do you guys remember the 2008 collapse of the whole
Housing
housing
market.
market?
hmm
Oh.
It's kind of similar in the sense that it's a bubble that's huge. I mean, games just these triple A games require so much money. There's so many employees and this and
Well,
that.
maybe that's why there's so many layoffs.
That too, but well, that's a bad sign in general because we're seeing that they can't afford it. But
Well, I
I
don't know
think
if they can't afford it, but whenever you have too many cooks in the kitchen, your meal turns out to be shit.
well, the meal is still shit, regardless of the many cooks in the kitchen. That's the problem. It's just I think COVID accelerated this in the sense that we saw a nice surge during COVID because everyone was locked up and stuff. But now that things are starting to return to normal and stuff, now obviously they can't sustain that level of commitment and employees being hired and stuff like that, so they have to slow that down. But just in addition, overall, I think that the AAA industry in whole is just not sustainable. It's not. It's no longer sustainable in that whole entire aspect, and they're over monetizing it. We've seen in the Western market this does not work. Okay, Americans do not want pay to win crap in their game, and it's like no one's listening. You have Skull and Bones over here. Everyone, I mean, that was a trash game.
Quadruple A.
Quadruple A, 200 over $200 million, and they did not even make that back yet.
I do want to add, I feel like lately, AAA has lost its meaning. I think we went from AAA industry to a triple EA industry.
Yeah.
Triple early access.
Exactly.
Because I feel like a lot of people are way too comfortable, even though they'll bitch about it like on Twitter, social media and all that. Oh,
Yeah.
this game was unfinished at launch. They're still spending like 60, $70 on it. And they are fine with playing that unfinished game.
Well,
for
that's
about
because everybody's trying to turn into a streamer.
Exactly. They think they're gonna make it big on Twitch in like 1
That's
year.
what
That's
it
not happening,
is.
bro.
Is you have all these people that have went out and bought PCs and set up a streaming slash gaming
Well,
PC.
this is kind of a hot take right here, I think.
Not
Yeah, so
really.
I mean,
Not
still,
really.
it's still for the podcast.
I mean, to be honest, not really. Because you got to think during COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. So what did they do? They tried to figure out ways to work from home. Almost everyone that I meet nowadays is trying to be a streamer. Either whether that be on YouTube, TikTok, Kick, Twitch, whatever, everybody's trying to be a streamer.
Now that's a fair point, but I'm gonna hit you with some numbers here, right? No one's watching Sea and Thieves.
Well, yeah, I get that.
So if they're all trying to stream it, no one's watching it.
Is what I'm saying is everybody's trying to be a streamer. So therefore, everybody is buying all of the new games, particularly AAA titles that everybody's hearing about that's going to come out. So that is what these triple A and quadruple A industries are banking on, is that all of these streamers that is now oversaturated the market is going to purchase all of these games. At the very least, purchase them and play them a couple of hours.
But for me, it doesn't make sense because we've had streamers have deals, right, to play games. They're sponsored, right? And
some are. I'm not talking about the streamers that made it. I'm talking about the people that want to be streamers.
I understand that, but if you make
you can look up on YouTube right now. There are thousands of air quote streamers that literally have maybe 400 subscribers at best. With here's one in a week. Okay, they streamed the Suicide Squad game, and in a week it had 23 views. They have 250 subscribers.
So what doesn't make sense to me is why is a multi-million-dollar company banking on that?
Because when COVID was happening, this is what everybody was doing. Everybody tried to shift into the streaming industry.
By the way, hi Noah. He says some variation of a content creator. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good generalization. I completely get what you're saying, but I also think that if a game's bad, no matter how many quote-unquote streamers want to try to play it and whatever that is, it still has lackluster sales. I mean, we've seen big streamers get sponsored, i.e., what's his name? Not Asmongold, not Doc. Well, actually, okay, fine, Doc. Dr. Disrespect was sponsored by some, a few, like, games and stuff like that. He'd pull in 16,000, 20,000 viewers. The game would have that little population spike, and then right after their sponsorship's over and they didn't enjoy the game, right back down to nothing. So I feel like as a multi-million-dollar / close to billion-dollar company, I would never bank on this, even during COVID, because it's a losing. I mean, you're never gonna make your money back. If you're like a scam company, sure, because then you can do like
day before.
Well, exactly. Day before is a good example, actually. Day before is a great example of that.
I get that, but you keep going back to streamers that have made it, streamers that have sponsorships and stuff like that. Is what happens is whenever the streamers that made it get these games, and they're probably not even paying for them, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of their sponsorship.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get them and they start streaming, and these other variations of content creators see, oh, this is doing well. Let me go purchase that game. I've seen it time and time again. There's 3 or 4 people that I talk to almost on a daily basis that are buying garbage video games to stream online because they think that that's going to be the next thing that maybe they blow up on. That
Mm-hmm.
is my point. Like almost every gamer, I see it constantly, no matter what game I'm playing has TTV in their name or
Right.
YT in their name or some crap like that. And like I said, I'm seeing it constantly. I'm seeing it on a daily basis that the streaming industry has become so oversaturated that almost every single gamer that enjoyed playing video games at some point
Mm-hmm.
has now tried to turn it into a career because they think that it's easy and that it's going to net them as much money as Dr. Disrespect makes, as Asmongold makes, as Swag makes, as all of these uh video game streamers that got in the very beginning.
Well, I mean, Doctor Disrespect did not get in the beginning, but yeah,
Uh,
I get what you're saying.
he got in way before COVID.
Well, yeah. I don't know if he got in during COVID. Actually, I don't remember. But anyways,
No, he got
besides the
he
point.
got in before COVID. Dr.
Mhm.
Disrespect started streaming in 2015.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go.
To steer us back on the topic, what is it? To I guess give like a more neutral take with excluding streamers and all that, right? I think another like big factor is people are spending $70 to $90 on these games, especially with games even if they're single player being released without the full package. As much as I love Yakuza, I got to call Infinite Wealth on this. Locking a essential feature that was in almost every game for free. Behind a $20 paywall, which is not cool, by the way.
Yeah,
Not at all.
that's
That's
scummy.
not
Actually,
fucking
it
cool.
gets worse, guys. I don't know if you knew this, but they've already discounted Infinite Wealth on the Xbox and PlayStation to I think $40.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
They're trying to get that $70 tag with that DLC right there. Is what they're trying to do. But I
Well, yeah,
digress. Um,
because it
I
didn't
feel like
work.
well,
They're
yeah, it didn't
saying that
work.
it
You're
didn't
right.
work.
But
exactly.
my thing is, I think a lot of people that are buying these new games, and even though they're shit, right? They're not good. These are just slop. They're buying it, and then they're like, "Well, now I have to get my money's worth. Either I refund it or I play it and hope to God it gets better."
It's a
And
a sunken cost fallacy right there. Yeah,
And what
exactly.
happens is these games don't get better. They don't get
No,
better.
no, they do not.
Skull and Bones. I played like an hour of Skull and Bones. I hate to admit that. I'm ashamed. Let me cleanse myself of my sins. But when I got a pop up that said, spend, get was it the deluxe edition or whatever to get the full game. I'm like, I spent $70. This isn't the full game. Quadruple A game, by the way.
Right, quadruple A. Right.
It's just these companies, they're banking on people wanting to get the most out of their money, I think, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to get the most out of that purchase.
Well, I
Too.
also see it as a good thing that there's not many people that are falling for it, right? And
Hopefully, it's a
the
rude awakening. That's for
the
sure.
more people that come out and speak out against this, the more the companies are going to see, hey, this doesn't work. That's why I always call it testing the waters, right? So they tested the waters with Yakuza and Skull and Bones. Well, guess what? It's not working. So they'll probably revert. Now, as far as the pricing going up to $70, yeah, that's a bit drastic, but the same could be said whenever it went up from 20 to 50.
I want to go back to the whole AAA industry thing. I think actually the whole price increase to 70 is almost going to be looked at as a red flag because you have Power World $29.99, Helldivers $39.99. And both of these games right now are outclassing all these triple, quadruple A, all that crap is all being outclassed by both of these games combined is $70. You can have two amazing bargains of a game For the price
Okay.
of one quadruple A game.
All right, yeah, and this might be a hot take too, but I haven't played Helldivers, but I did play Power World. Don't get me wrong, Power World was fun, and it seems like it has a lot more content than what I have played. But I will say this: there is an element of jank to that game.
It's because
It
it's not
shows.
a full release. It's an early access game.
Okay, well, when's the full release coming?
I'm not sure, but
No one
it literally
knows.
developers did tell everyone it's an early access, and everyone did buy it knowing it's early access.
Okay, and that's all well and good. And if the full release is better than what I've experienced so far, that's even better. All right. I'm not saying that the game's not worth the price tag right now,
hmm
but is what I am saying is there is jank with that game.
Well, Skull and Bones itself has a ton of jank.
Well, absolutely. That's why we're sitting here and we're talking so much crap about Skull and Bones and how it's not even worth $20, let alone 70, let alone 100.
$20, I'd say $20 is actually a fair price for it. I think $20, yes. But
What, in
70
5
is
years?
From what I have seen, no. All right. But yeah, like I said, Power World is an excellent game. It is a very fun game. It is worth its price tag. But whenever it comes down to small indie studios or whatever you want to call them,
yeah.
all right, there is going to be some form of jank that comes with those games, period. All right. They're not going to be as polished as a air quotes triple A title, which here lately, the triple A titles that have been dropping aren't as polished as what we seen pre-COVID.
I agree with that take. I feel like
I'm going to
what is
agree
it?
and disagree. I'm going to do 50-50.
I feel like, there's some games that were like they were still popping off. Like we've seen, Elden Ring after, what, in
Oh,
2022. Elden Ring was a great game.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't
Wonderful
mean
game.
And by the
Wonderful
way,
game.
the DLC that's coming out. Okay, so here's another thing I want to bring to you guys actually. So a lot of people are saying that the issue with the industry and stuff, like I said, was the pricing. People don't want to pay that much, right? I think I'm a kind of reiterate something Asmongold said is, and actually a lot of people don't have an issue with paying more for games. It's that people want the value. And I think a lot of the AAA games that have been coming out recently don't have the value for what they're asking.
Yeah, the best way to put it is that they've lost their value.
I
Yeah.
don't have a problem paying $60, $70 for a game.
Exactly. I'll pay
if
70.
if that game
Mhm.
is what it's supposed to be at launch.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Exactly.
If I'm not playing a pre-released, I'd better not have connection issues to a server. If I'm not playing pre-released, a boss better not get stuck in a fucking wall.
Right.
Okay.
If
Right.
I'm not playing pre-release, I shouldn't be glitching under the map on a $60, 16 times the detail game.
Oh God, yeah.
Right.
Right. And I think that
guys.
yeah,
the thing
I
is,
want your
people are
opinion on this first. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, my bad. I was just gonna say like, I'm willing to pay $60 for a game that's worth $60.
The value's there, right?
Like people need to understand, like even if the game's going up to 80, if a game has enough in it to warrant that and it's polished well enough. I've played $30 games that I would almost think, man, how is this game not $60? Whether it be a VR title or a standalone title or even an indie developer title.
Same here. You got to think I'm from the old Diablo days. Diablo 2, I played for 5 solid years. And the base game along with its DLCs, I paid maybe, I believe, like 40, $50. For that $40, $50, pretty much $10 a year.
And
That's
you guys, you can still get these games for cheap
how
too,
much
if you wanna play
enjoyment
them.
I got out of that. All right. So 5 years.
And then you go play
So-
Diablo 4.
$70 for 5 hours of the
70
campaign, and then that's it.
$70, I played it for 2 weeks.
And
And
haven't
I
touched it
couldn't anymore.
since.
I haven't touched it since
There's
because they
no
don't listen to
value.
the community.
Yeah,
They
there's
do
no
not
value.
listen to the
Thing is,
community. And it's a simple change, right? Simple change. Instead of making your player base create a whole new character every season to redo the same exact shit, just make it to where their original character can go through every season.
Now, for those of you that don't know about Diablo 4 and stuff like that, there's a seasonal thing that happens every I think 3 months or so, where they release some new mechanic, and then they expect you to make a new character and play it on that seasonal realm. It's like a server per se, and you have the eternal realm, which is your character stays forever, and it's like one thing, and it doesn't have these seasonal mechanics per se. Now I'm completely in agreement with Twiz here. I really, Diablo 4 brought a lot of people that were not into ARPGs into this scene. And I feel like you had this opportunity that Blizzard had that really no one else had, because Path of Exile is amazing, a fantastic free game. I mean, Jesus, if it was $70, it'd still be worth it. There's so much content in there that it'd take you years to master it. But the thing with Path of Exile is it's so in depth and it has so much content that it's almost like a gateway.
Overwhelming.
It's almost overwhelming. There's like a gateway to entry kind of. People feel overwhelmed. Diablo is the polar opposite. There's so little content and it's so easy to get into that you can play it for an hour, 3 hours a week, and you wouldn't be caught up to everyone, but you'd have a good time.
But
Cookie cutter devs.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be too far behind.
Yeah. For example, like a skill tree, you have an option of A and B, whereas in Path of Exile you have like A to Z and 1 to 100. You have a lot more options. Now
that's what you get with the Diablo 2 devs. Making
yeah,
Path of
exactly,
Exile.
exactly. But to kind of finish my point here. So you have these two polar opposites, and Diablo really brought in a lot of fresh faces, a lot of new people that didn't play ARPGs before. You had people that didn't know what an ARPG was, and I feel like they could have capitalized on this by listening to the community, which the community was saying they didn't want to make a new character every season. They didn't want to do the Statues of Lilith every season because it's literally just a time sink. It's just a boring ass time sink. And it's so slow to get these changes. It's so lethargic, and there's just the passion is not there. They have a $70 horse mount. Now, why not tie that to a leaderboard? Why not have it to be a reward for being the top 100 leaderboard or something on a challenge? No, we're just
Because
gonna
it doesn't make the money.
Exactly. We're just gonna charge people $70 freaking dollars for a stupid horse mount.
We're gonna charge people the price of the game.
Exactly, and I think
For
that
a
is
skin.
such a missed opportunity on Blizzard's
for a
end.
skin, because
Yeah.
this horse mount does nothing
No,
that the ones
the
that
free
you
ones,
already
yeah.
have
Mhm.
do. So
This is gonna be a little bit of a hot take for me to finish off the whole Diablo thing. As a Diablo vet, I've played this shit since I was a kid, all the way from Diablo 1 up to Diablo 4.
Mhm.
I think that they shouldn't have tried to cram a battle pass into Diablo 4. I think that was entirely don't be wrong. Being able to earn some skins and shit, that's fine. That's cool. But the way they did it and having, that monetization live service extra on top of that game was not the way to go.
Well, it's
Because
the game, right? The base game, the battle pass, the premium battle pass, an
and then you have to be
expansion.
in seasonal to play with that battle pass.
Yeah, and now you have to pay for expansions. That's a new thing that they're coming out with too, the actual paid expansions. So it's like,
Well,
how many
you had
times
to-
are you gonna dip your fingers in the pot?
well, devil's advocate here, Diablo 1, Diablo 2, you had to pay for expansions as
But
well.
does Diablo 1 or 2 have a battle pass, a premium battle pass, and then $70 price tag? No.
Battle passes didn't make their way around until I don't know, 2017,
Fortnite!
2018.
I think Diablo 3, right? Did Diablo 3 have battle pass actually? No.
No, it
No,
never
it did not.
had, it
Okay,
still
it did
doesn't.
not. All right, cool. All right.
But yeah, Fortnite, honestly, yes, I think there were battle passes before Fortnite, but Fortnite's
what-
what really got
started it.
really got every single game to have a battle pass. And battle passes are fine or whatever, but I do think that at the end of the day, if you have a paid game, people have to pay to play it. You should not have a battle pass. You shouldn't.
I think a live service game is okay with a battle pass, but the way Diablo did it is not.
Well, Diablo 3 is already a $70 entry tag. Look at a game like I know
you mean
I know
4
it's
or
hard
3?
to what is it, 4? Sorry, 4.
4, okay.
But what is it? This is gonna be like hard comparison to make, but a game like Deep Rock Galactic, their battle passes are completely free. You're already paying $30-$40 to play the game.
Right.
They will give you that premium battle pass or just battle pass in general for free, and it has a lot in it.
But at
because
the
you're already
same
paying for
time,
entry.
Diablo's battle pass. All right. So for example, like Fortnite, like Call of Duty. Granted, Call
The
of Duty is a paid
finals.
for game. It's, you've got the battle pass or
I think
whatever
the
too.
finals has one too.
But at the same time, those games, you can make the in-game currency enough to buy the next battle pass. Right? So, like, for example, Fortnite goes off of V-Bucks, okay? And they give you a certain number of V-Bucks throughout the battle pass. You can then use those V-Bucks because you recoup them to buy the next battle pass. Call of Duty does the same thing. Um, the finals does the same thing. Diablo 4 does not. So essentially
Yeah.
is what you're doing is you're paying $20-$30 for this battle pass. You're playing through it, and then the next battle pass that comes out, guess what? You have to pay $20 or $30. There is no way that you
Did you know
gain that
after the
in-game
second
currency.
one, you're still too short. You're two currency short.
And
Two
there's
like what? Just the
Literally
actual number
two
two.
currency. Two.
yes.
Yeah. It's
So you're 2 currency short, and the minimum of currency that you can buy is $20,
is it
right?
20 or is it 5?
I think it's 20. Hold on.
But while you search that, I'm just gonna kind of also mention Helldivers 2. I think perfected this in terms of battle passes. Helldivers 2 has a free battle pass, completely free, that everyone has. You cannot buy progression on it. You have to play the game to earn war bonds, which is what you use to unlock stuff. And it does kind of a mixture of Fortnite in the sense that you don't have to unlock everything to keep going. You can choose a certain amount in the first page, and then you unlock the second page, and so on and so forth. And with that free, completely free
$10.
$10. Okay, so yeah, you have to buy that. So with that free battle pass in Helldivers, you earn so much currency that you can buy the premium one, and from the premium one, you earn currency as well. And in missions, you earn currency. So it's like this is exactly the balance, and I think they've struck gold with that. That's the balance that you need in a live service game where it doesn't feel like you're being ripped off. The player has the opportunity to support the developer by buying super credits if you want, or just play the game. You can play the game and earn the premium currency. Warframe does something similar with their like Prime stuff, with Prime parts and all that, and mods. You can sell those for platinum, which is Warframe's premium currency. Helldivers, I think, does it even better because you can straight up just find it in the missions versus selling your stuff to other people. And you know, this is how you do it right. You still monetize your game. You're still making money as a live service, but the customer doesn't feel like they're being ripped off.
I will say, since I have now experienced Helldivers, I'm a little bit of an educated boy. I finally, I bought into the craze. Um, I will agree with what Wassup here. I do think that Helldivers, they know their market, and they know their audience. The best way to put it. They know their audience, and they respect their time and how they want to how they value their time. So you don't have to pay a single dime unless you want to just support the devs or get something. It's not even that expensive. The game's $40, and then if you want to get the Super Citizen, you can. It's not required at all. Like nothing in that game, monetary wise, is required to buy. You can get it purely through playing the game. And
Exactly.
like devs need to follow that more. Like you can give people a good incentive to spend money, but have a good alternative for people to earn, that as well.
Exactly.
Because if they can
Exactly.
earn
Yep.
if they can earn that well and it be stress free, then they may want to go support you and give you money the next time around.
I'm gonna be honest. The pay to win needs to go away because at the end of the day, I am a sucker for a good skin. So for real, I am a sucker for a good cosmetic in a game.
I hate to say it, I'll
You do
spend
not.
$30 for a good skin too.
Sure
Likewise,
will.
I'm a whore for
Sure will.
capes.
So at the end of the day, and that's every gamer, right? That's every gamer. At the end of the day, you do not have to put your pay to win bullshit in to get people to purchase things. So, but on the topic of money and people being greedy, did you guys hear about the Wendy surge pricing and how they had to walk
Mhm.
that back real quick this week?
They're like,
Oh yeah.
no, we didn't say that.
Yep.
So the Wendy's, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard about this. Wendy's came out in in an interview, the CEO was talking about how they're going to spend $20 million on new digital boards for the drive-through
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
the interior boards.
Mhm.
That way they can adjust the prices on the fly. So, and one of the things that they were talking about doing was doing surge pricing, meaning that during the hours, like the peak hours, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the prices would be more expensive, right? And in the off hours, the prices would be the original prices. Well, the internet lost its ever loving mind about this, and the CEO had to come back out and say, well, I didn't say that. What I said was taken out of context, but we're not going to do that.
They
Period.
pulled that Twitter
So
apology real quick.
they walked that one back. Taco Bell was talking about doing the same thing, this just goes to prove that collectively, if we don't like something, we don't have to take it laying down. You can
Speak with your wallet.
voice your opinion, speak with your wallet. These companies cannot they're trying to rebrand it as dynamic pricing in place of surge pricing. Yeah, it's the
It's the
exact
same
same
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And instead of being all like, you know what, we're going to take this laying down and let them do it and just still go. Don't go. Don't go. Guess what? Who gives a shit if there's 4,000 less Wendy's in America? Who gives a shit if there's 10,000 less Taco Bells? It serves them right. Because at the end of the day, me and Austin here have found plenty of other places, other restaurants that are not chains that have better food, better pricing, better service. All right. I can't tell you how many times I have driven through the drive-through of a McDonald's, a Burger King, a Wendy's, whatever, all right, and have been met with a really bad attitude,
Yeah.
really bad service.
Slow,
My
very slow.
my food, my burger that comes out, we get home, I open it, it looks like it's been monkey punched. All
Yeah.
right.
It
Yeah.
looked like it been
So
gobsmacked with a can of corn.
why am I paying you $12 for a double quarter pounder that looks like it's been smushed into the floor?
Yeah.
No, I'm
I gotta
good.
say,
You know, why am I paying $12 for that combo and the fries come out stale and cold?
Yep.
Your soda machine not having the correct ratio of carbonation and syrup.
your fucking
Why am I
McFlurry
paying
machine
these
not working.
prices?
Oh, always. Yeah.
Your McFlurry machine, your ice cream machine
It's always down.
being perpetually down, being perpetually dead.
I think this was a very dangerous thing that almost happened. I don't know if it's still gonna happen, but I feel
Well,
like this is the type of thing, if it gets passed, if one of them does it, the rest are gonna follow.
Well, yeah, like Noah said, they're trying to rebrand it as dynamic pricing now.
Well, it's dynamic bullshit is what it is. Yeah, if that passes,
I think is what they're gonna do is at first they're gonna roll it out and things are gonna be cheaper
oh, of
in the
course,
off
of
hours,
course, yeah.
but the regular price will stay the same during the peak hours. But eventually, is what's gonna happen
It's
is
the
that'll
opposite.
flip. That'll flip because they'll be all like, oh well, you know, that bit of bad press has died off.
Yeah, yep.
So now we can do what we set out to do originally
Mm-hmm.
in the shadows, and nobody will be the wiser. But
This is
this
so
is a very
weird because I think power companies and stuff like that try to do this, right? I mean, for us, we do have
we have
peak hour
Mhm.
pricing and stuff like
They
that.
charge us double.
Yeah. Now, I think it's different because with a power company, for example, you don't have another choice. That's your power company. That's it, right? With fast food, you can always just go to a different restaurant. You could go to mom and pop. You could go to tons of other things. So I don't know.
Well,
I feel like this is gonna be something where it's gonna be a psychological game where they're gonna maybe increase the price like 10 cents to where no one really can see it, and eventually over time you're just gonna be not indoctrinated, but like accustomed to it. You're just gonna be like,
Yep.
oh well, yeah. So yeah, I hope this isn't a thing that's gonna happen. I'm glad that Wendy's had a lot of backlash, and they deserve it.
Well, they need more.
They need more. Absolutely agreed. Because
like Noah said, they're trying to rebrand it. All right, fuck your rebranding.
yeah,
Instead of spending $20 million on those boards, how about you take that money and you give back to the communities? Period. You have plenty of people that are homeless that are around all of these fast food restaurants waiting for you to throw all of that waste food that you didn't sell or you messed up the order or whatever into the garbage so they can eat out of the garbage. Why don't you take that $20 million and invest into a soup kitchen or something instead of, oh, how can we make more money?
You know, to add a little humor to the topic, you know, to finish off the topic, you know, I got a fucking bone to pick with you, Wendy's and Taco Bell. You know, no, for years, you know, you didn't bring back the spicy chicken nuggets. You kept trying to get rid of those, and then Taco Bell, you and your fucking nacho fries. But well, nah, I'm glad it didn't get passed either. I hope it stays that way.
same.
Well, again, they're still flirting with the idea. They're just rebranding it. So, you know,
rebranding. They're
they
gonna
had
slightly
enough.
change it up.
They had enough backlash that they rebranded it. So they still need backlash.
And by the way,
what I was gonna say is like, can we please see more of that? Can we act more like that against these companies?
Wendy's,
Please,
your Dave's double is already overpriced. Don't try to mess
You're not wrong.
Double.
You're not wrong. And by the way, the whole digital thing with dynamic, and they're trying to claim that they want digital boards for dynamic pricing. McDonald's has LCD menus, and they don't do that shit. So you don't need to have an LCD screen to do dynamic pricing and all that.
These boards will be connected to the internet. So
yeah, all of them are. All the screens are connected to the internet. Because if you notice, like at night, for example, they'll have the different menu on the board, and then in the daytime they'll have something else.
No, so coming from someone that knows people that work there, that's all they do is it's connected to their POS machine. It's not connected to the internet itself. So all they do is press a button and it flips the menu. That's it. What these new boards will do is they'll connect to the internet so corporate can change the prices on the fly.
Oh, okay,
right?
I see.
So that's what that's about. But yeah, it's all bullshit.
Really is. So, how about some moving off of the gaming industry a little bit here. So, you guys have seen some of the protests of the gas guzzler cars and stuff like that with Tesla drivers and all that. So, how about this? So, there someone actually slashed the tires of a Tesla Cybertruck, claiming that and they had the little pamphlet that they put on the windshield, saying that it was a gas guzzler. So not only do we have people that are pretty much doing terrorism on people because of their cars, they're actually too dumb to realize that a Cybertruck's an electric car. So what do we all think about that?
I think it's insanity and quite possibly terrorism.
Oh, it is terrorism. It's literally terrorism.
I give you. No, that's fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah.
I thought we were at the peak with 2020 and the good old you know, we had people get a little political here, don't get me wrong. But you know, the whole 2020 riots and all that. Do people like ever chill out? Like,
I think they always have to have something to be irritated about.
Too much fucking time on their hands to spend on pointless bullshit.
So first of all, right. So you're slashing people's tires that are trying to go to work, trying to make a living. Maybe they don't have the money for a $70,000 electric car. Okay, so you're slashing their tires. What are you accomplishing here? All you're doing is making it to where people don't like you more. They don't like the idea of quote unquote green and going green and all this crap, because you're terrorizing people. I mean, they like that's their means of living. They don't have the luxury of just buying another car on the whim. Not to mention, you're literally vandalizing people's property. So that's illegal in itself. So
How
you're
would you like it if someone broke your window or slashed your tires, my guy?
oh, I mean,
Like, I'd be pissed.
yeah, pissed is the least I would be. So yeah, this whole gas guzzler thing with people shutting down highways, um, slashing tires, it's insanity to me. If anything, it actually makes me not want to advocate to them and be more pissed at them. Um, your mic's muted.
They're just mad that their Cybertruck slashes its own tires with its hubcaps.
Well, no, it's
I
it's
mean,
someone slashed the truck tires, thinking. Oh, sorry, you weren't here. So let me explain. So some of these green save the planet, gas guzzler people, they slashed a Cybertruck owner's tires with the little gas guzzler pamphlet in the windshield, and it's just like, oh my god,
Stupidity breeds stupidity.
it really does.
y'all know Curb Your Enthusiasm. We get that theme playing whenever that happened.
Right.
Like, come on,
Yeah,
it's just
so
it's a
that's
mess, man.
that's craziness. I really hope that's not a big thing that's gonna start happening. I don't think it is. I think this. I think
That
is
was
something that could,
probably an isolated incident.
yeah, I was about to say. I think this is something that could happen maybe in the UK or like like across the pond. But I think in the US, someone's gonna get shot. Someone's gonna
I mean,
get
no,
shot doing that.
100%.
Yeah.
Quick,
But the
fast, like
hard
in a
part is just
hurry.
that's the hardest part is just you can't predict stupid. I mean, you kind of can, but you cannot predict these crazy ass people.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like,
And well, some lighter news actually, something really cool. In the first time within the last 50 years, the NASA lunar rover landed. Odysseus. It actually landed on the moon, so that's really cool. I'm so happy to see the space race kind of be a little reignited. What do you guys think about that? I think the space race is fucking amazing. It brings a lot of good minds together. It's a nice goal to work towards in the world of us hurting on money and all that. This is something I think that the science community is really enjoying, and it's a new venture. It's just I think it's cool. What do you guys think?
That's pretty cool.
I think it's pretty
I
cool.
don't have too much of an opinion on it, but yeah, it's nice to know that we're doing something other than war.
Yeah,
You and me
war,
both, man.
depression, economy, stuff like that.
Dealing with the virus still going around, all that kind of stuff. Was it about 3 or 4 years ago? I remember, was it 2020? I don't know if you guys remember this or watch this, but there are people that were like living pretty much on the moon, and they came back down after being up there for a couple years. I remember watching that. I'm like, man, that shit's so cool. It's nice to see that kind of thing, like, and actual research being done because of it.
Yeah,
Um,
Well,
absolutely.
but at the end of the day, you already know that you're going to have the conspiracy theorists pop off and be all like, "The Earth is flat and nobody's ever went to space and
The whole
there's an
lunar.
ice wall."
the moon is made out of cheese. But
Speaking, go ahead.
very good. Oh, okay. But no, just on the bright, looking at the bright side, I want to keep seeing this happen because, of course, we have rovers and we have safer means to explore these planets and all that kind of stuff. I like that the effort's still being made to keep that kind of just dream alive.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, I think this is
I
like
wanna keep
a
seeing that happen.
homage to what humanity can do if we set aside our differences and focus on like a common goal, like science, space exploration, and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can keep going.
Oh, who, me or him?
Uh, either of you.
Well, speaking of conspiracy theorists, have you guys heard about Wendy Williams?
I have not heard about
I
Wendy
have heard
Williams.
something on that. Yes, I
Please,
have.
both of you
So-
inform me. I gotta learn about this.
So, Wendy Williams, she was the host of, I don't think she was on The View, but she had her own show, whatever. It was very, very popular. It did very, very well. Unfortunately, at the age of 59, she's been diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia, right?
Ooh.
A lot of people on the internet are trying to basically theorize or conspiracy theory
Mhm.
that Hollywood has something to do with this. You've had well-known people in Hollywood like Dave Chappelle and stuff like that basically say that, oh, yeah, this is what happened. I think Kanye West even came out and said that Hollywood had something to do with it. They tried to put them on medications and stuff that would make them be more docile or lose their minds. Um,
Wow.
Now, on the other side of the coin, um, some people in Hollywood did make it to where her son no longer has power of attorney over her, that her management team did, and her management team has been accused of stealing millions of dollars from her, to the point that she is now bankrupt. Um, I think that this is a very, very sad thing. Do I believe that Hollywood, did something to her to make her have this air quotes diagnosis? I don't think so. I mean, granted, anything is possible, but at the same time, like I like to try to see the world as a little less nefarious than that. But what do you guys think?
I don't know, man. It's just if that's true, like in the Hollywood scene, that they were actually, giving her medications and all that, or like to try and get her to, act up or be more.
Well, they had she was seeing a therapist, I believe, or a psychiatrist, and the therapist and psychiatrist had her on some medications for like depression and stuff like that. Which, like I said, Dave Chappelle and Kanye West had came out in interviews stating that their management team tried to have them do this as well. Kanye West being on massive amounts of lithium and stuff. Yeah, look into that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, look into that, but you can't. I mean, you can't trust Kanye too much these days. He's a little office rocker,
he's,
but
but that's at the same
I couldn't
time.
play into that. Maybe it's
Is
true.
he off his rocker just because he is off his rocker?
Well,
Or is he off
lithium
his...
is a mood stabilizer, so he would literally be off his rocker if he's on lithium.
Right.
So
I don't know, but like I was saying, if it's true that people in Hollywood were giving her stuff like that, it's very fucking. I hate to say it, but it just sounds like something that would happen in Hollywood, though. I'm not trying to downplay the situation,
Well, there's a
but
lot of
I'm
things. There's a lot of things that are coming out in Hollywood. A lot, such as like P Diddy and his whole scandal, right? I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but
I think I have. Is
he's
that the we're not gonna say the word, but the thing that
sexual.
yeah, is that okay,
His
gotcha.
sexual misconducts
Mm-hmm.
with peoples.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole Vince McMahon thing. We won't get into
Oh,
that.
oh,
Um,
oh
let's not
my
get into that. Look,
goodness!
all I gotta say, let's not get into that shitty situation. Come on.
I think we should
um,
give some light on that one because that one
Well,
is a
can we,
wowza.
let's do that next episode.
Okay.
yeah, we'll touch on that next episode. But yeah, you have the Diddy thing, the Wendy Williams thing, the Whitney Houston's manager, Clive Davis, right? It's now coming out that whenever Whitney Houston died,
Mm-hmm.
and this is all conspiracy theory, of course, but whenever she died, now this part can be backed up. Whenever she died, they actually left her in the hotel and continued, because she was at a party at this hotel.
Mm-hmm.
um they left her in her hotel room and continued to party, and Clive Davis is on record stating, well, Whitney would have wanted us to keep the party going.
Oh wow.
Right, and that
Okay.
was her manager, a
Wow.
man that's supposed to love her and this, and that, and the other, and be looking out for her best interest. Meanwhile, his client just passed away in the hotel room just upstairs.
Wow. That's crazy.
They're partying while the coroner is finally wheeling her body out of the hotel lobby. So, I don't know what to make of it, as far as the Wendy Williams thing.
Well, to give my opinion on that, because you asked for Jaboon's and mine. In terms of the Wendy Williams thing, I'm gonna kind of go with you guys in the sense that I don't think the whole medication caused her to get those diagnoses. There's markers for them genetically and stuff like that, so it's pretty
Well,
concrete.
that's why they're saying that this is crazy that it shouldn't have happened this way, because there were no pre-existing anything.
There
There
was. Wendy Williams has had a few health scares because I remember seeing it on TV. She had a seizure live on TV. She's passed out, I think, on Good Morning America, I believe. Maybe not. I don't remember. Whatever her show was, her morning show. So she's had a few health scares, but nothing that would necessarily like be like, oh,
point
that's
to
Alzheimer's,
dementia.
or dementia. Yeah,
Right.
which is, I mean, that's how it would happen though. You wouldn't really know someone has it until late onset, or in her age, I guess, is when it would start showing. But the fact that they took advantage of that is disgusting to me. The
Completely
whole
agreed.
manager getting power of attorney and all that is why, like, why the family should, that's the family that should not be to the manager. Unless does she not have an immediate family?
Yeah, she has a son.
And does she have a good relationship with her son?
Yeah,
Then
absolutely.
then yeah, it
There's
should absolutely not be to her manager. It should be to the son.
there's a whole documentary of like her son being there and trying to, take care of her. Black China came. She's a well-known artist. She came and has had a good relationship with Wendy Williams for quite some time, quite a few
Mhm.
years. And it's the documentary is it's good, but it's also heartbreaking. Granted, don't get me wrong, I didn't watch the Wendy Williams show. Wasn't
Oh,
that big
that's
of a
what it was.
fan.
The Wendy Williams show. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right. Wasn't that big of a fan, to be honest. But at the same time,
Yeah.
even though I'm not a fan of someone, does not mean that I wish them, you know, wish horrible things to happen to them.
Yeah, she
So,
just had an interview apparently on Good Morning America. Her niece did, I think. So her
mhm.
niece spoke out about this a little bit. I haven't seen that, but that'd be interesting to see.
Oh yeah. But yeah, do you guys have anything else to add, or
And no, it's just a sad situation, as you said, and yeah, that's
It's
uh,
it's just a terrible situation.
it
Like
really
nobody,
is.
like dementia on its own. Nobody should have to deal with dementia. I think dementia is fucking awful. Like nobody should have to experience that, and just the thought of going through that's terrifying.
And then someone
But
taking
then
advantage of it.
exactly,
right?
like it's people that you thought you could trust that are supposed to be there for you. They're supposed to be the leaders, taking advantage of you in your vulnerable state and putting you in that spot. And now here you are now. It's just that's heartbreaking, man. Nobody should have to go through that. Celebrity or
Absolutely.
not,
Yeah.
nobody should have to go through that abuse.
Completely agreed.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But I think that'll wrap it up for this week's episode. Thanks everybody for joining us, and always remember, you'll have that.
You will have that.
And just a few little side notes here. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, please check out the Spotify right below. You just search "You'll Have That" and it's the podcast. Or those are you on Spotify, come check us out on YouTube. For some reason, it's not showing up in the search, but if you just search the channel name Wassup with a slash, not just Wassup, you can find it on there. And thank you, Noah, for joining us. Thank you for the good show. Thank you. Thank you. You're always welcome. And we would love to hear your recommendations and suggestions for topics. Please, by all means, comment on the video. Send a comment on Spotify after you listen to the episode. There's a little Q&A. You can send us a comment there. We always read those.
Or
And-
join our Discord.
Or join the Discord.
We're always active here. We will see it if you join the Discord.
Absolutely. It's Discord GG/Team Twisted, all one word. Feel free to join us there. And yeah, we just really want to thank you guys for listening. You've been awesome. This has been a great podcast so far. We're thinking about doing like a few things off of this. For example, I think we're gonna probably do like a movie/TV series review sort of thing very soon here. I'm working on the VFX and all that for that. But yeah, I mean, if you guys would like to see anything else, just let us know. We'd be happy to listen to your recommendations, and we might even do some game reviews too while we're at it. So thank you again, guys. You guys have a awesome weekend, or whenever you're listening to this. And well, Wassup signing out.
Jaboon signing out.
Take it easy.
Y'all have a good night.